Awesome introduction. Hilarious. I honestly, I've been loving how certainly you talk about non-duality and how you talk about how it's absolutely natural for the tidying of the cage. You know what I mean? Like the dog, Khaleesi finding a place for the bone. Yeah. It's actually natural, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe so feelings that come up that feel quote unquote negative are actually just survival, like animal traits, animal. What do you call it when Darwinian evolutionary stuff, and it's just the owning of them by the believed.
It's the owning of them that's the only problem. I mean, like, they can be improved. Like if you're difficult and if you're experiencing lots of pain, if you've been traumatized, if you've had a trauma in some way, they can be improved, and that's nice. But the real issue isn't that. The real issue is that energy which claims it to be you, and then it feels stuck in you, and you feel guilty and bad for being you, when really everything that comes out of that body is the perfect expression of absolute creativity. It's so creative being Bradley. It's the most creative thing there is, this appearance of this Bradley character. But then it's also creative, but that's what suffering is the sucking in and that fake feeling that it's real. It's really real, and then it becomes so serious. And what's happening in these talks, I suspect, although I can't guarantee anything, is a collapsing of that energy, and so then Bradley becomes truly Bradley, and life becomes as it is. Like Bradley expresses itself without this cage trying to make Bradley something more or less than he is, and without trying to find completion in Bradley. So Bradley can shout, can scream, can cry, just like a kid does, but freely. When the person's there, it's always holding it in, and it's always trying to find something extra in itself. Everywhere it's looking for that place of home, and home is in everything that's happening. And I think in these talks, it's not really, the reconditioning can happen, and it's not the reconditioning that's happening in these talks, but there is a remembering of this emptiness, of this freedom that everything is, that it appears and goes instantaneously. So if Bradley's having a rage, that's totally free. Whereas before, when Bradley's having a rage, it's sucked into a very tight energy, and it feels so real and important, and you really believe that if you get what you want, you will be complete and whole. So it's so important, the rage. You would kill for the rage to try and get home. But when that collapses, then the rage is free to be as it is. And then there's rage, and then it's gone. Just like everything, the whole world. There can be a trauma, and then it's gone. There could be something traumatic. But it's also equally the other way. There can be the most beautiful, spectacular event, and then it's gone. Everything is gone. It's not happening for someone. It's happening for no reason, just spontaneous creativity. There's this beautiful film called If I Lived, and it's a bit cheesy in Hollywood, but there's this sentence in it that's so beautiful.
If I Stay?
If I Stayed, yes. Have you seen it?
I watched it, I think, because of you.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's this beautiful part in it, which I loved, where the dad was sitting outside the bedroom, and the daughter's playing, and he realized the daughter was only 7 or 6, and he realized that she was playing for no reason. And he always played for a reason. And then he realized that was true art, that she was not playing to be famous, she was not playing to be rich, she was not playing to impress, there was just playing happening.
I honestly, and whether or not it's helping only in flow or whatever, I honestly like how you bring up science sometimes too, and how you bring up the conditioning, even though that's not what you're talking about.
No, it's not what I'm talking about, but I do think it can recondition in a really positive way as well. Like it can, because it just relaxes that person. But simultaneously, what's happening is the collapse of that separate self. So also the character is also going through a process of not being so neurotic as well. Like that's being affected as the person stops being held so tightly onto, then it's becoming more natural anyway. But that process of speaking and talking about non-duality or emptiness, it is going to bring up intense fear as well. So there's going to be this flip-flopping when listening to this message, because you are going to have this fear because you're being taken to the edge of your own death. So there's going to be a relaxing of that person, but there's also going to be this fear more than likely that comes as well at points. So the person's going to even out and balance out, but you might find that every so often this panic or fear comes, like intense fear. It's like you're going to die.
Is pure animal, and
it is in one way. It is the most natural thing, but what's dying is something which is an illusion. Like, it is a really natural thing. So basically, that in the brain, this fear of death. So the body's saying, "I'm going to die," and it's not the body that's going to die. It's the illusion of self that's going to die. So it is a really natural fear that comes up. You might just notice it comes up more. Because that sense is being touched so much. And that will pass too. Everything is so empty.
very cool. Lisa, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bradley. Thanks, and you. Bye.